Okay, sound check 1, 2, 3, and I hope naririnig ako ngayon. Okay, let's see. Okay, sa mga nanonood na dyan, just comment para malaman ko kung nanonood na kayo. So, live na ako ngayon. First comment dito sa ating chat party, sa live chat natin para makita ko kung sino sa inyo present na. So that we can start our lecture. So, live na po tayo. Pasensya na at may karpintero dito. Naririnig yata yung pagmamartilyo. Okay, meron na ba tayong mga viewers ngayon? Okay, wait lang natin. We still have 10 minutes before ako magsimula ng aking live stream, ng aking klase. So, game sir, sabi ni Harvey. Shoutout kay Harvey Kagunot ng room 204. So, isa pa lang yata ang viewer natin. Pasensya na, may kumakalampag talaga may kumakalampag dito ngayon. So, pasensya na lang natin. So, mabagal po ang internet connection namin yun. Kaya, pasensya nyo rin. You will be experiencing technical problems. Comment lang po kapag nakatutok na kayo sa aming channel. So, sinend ko na sa inyo mga group chat yung link ng ating channel, ng ating video ngayong hapon. Okay, good afternoon din, Koro Sensei Gaming. Sino man to? Kagunot ba to? I think, so, good afternoon din sa'yo. Okay. Yeah, meron tayong 5 viewers. In 2 minutes maybe, I will start streaming. Chat lang kayo sa akin kung nakaka-experience kayo ng technical problems. Mabagal talaga internet namin ngayon. Okay. Good afternoon din kay Jessica Guevara from 207. Okay. Okay, magsisimula na din tayo. Okay. So, kung ano mang ingay ang maririnig ninyo dito sa background, pagpasensyahan nyo na lang. Siguro itong naririnig naman ako so far. Comment lang kayo kapag naririnig nyo ako. Okay. Hindi nag-play sa akin yung video ko. Okay, in 1 minute, magsisimula na tayo. Kaka-edit lang ng name. Ayun. So, si Barry Carpio pala to. So, yung Koro Sensei Gaming is Mr. Carpio pala. Ayun. So, good afternoon everyone. Ayun. So, naka-view na din si Christine. At yun si Rio. Nanonood na rin. Nakatutok na yan. We already have 2 concurrent views. Okay. So I think we're ready to start. So that with 11 viewers lang tayo. Okay. For our topic for today, we'll be discussing the data analysis. The analysis of data. It's an introduction to data interpretation. And for you to know, ito yung isa sa mga pinaka-crucial na part ng inyong research paper because you will be interpreting all the data that you have collected from your respondents. And matagal-tagal na trabaho to because it includes organizing of your data, categorization of your data, interpretation of your data, and much more. Dito na rin papasok yung pag-compute ninyo ng inyong mga statistical tools para ma-interpret ninyo ang inyong mga data. So, let us have a review. Ano nga ba yung data? So, chat lang kayo sa akin kung naririnig ninyo kasi hindi ko sure kung naririnig ko yung sarili ko. Okay, so data. Since PR1 hanggang MIL hanggang PR2 and kahit ngayon, pinag-uusapan natin ano tong data na ito. So, data refer to individual facts and statistics collected, stored, and grouped together for analysis, interpretation, or references. So, ito yung mga kokolektahin ninyo from your respondent. This will contain vital ideas na magagamit ninyo for you to answer the problems na naka-indicate dyan sa inyong statement of the problem. Now, these are individual facts. Bakit individual facts? Because it will come from individual and independent samples. Galing sa kanila mismo without the intervention of anyone or anything. So, it is stored, it's collected. Yeah, it's collected and then it's stored, grouped together for analysis, interpretation, or references. Kokolektahin nyo yan, kukunin nyo from your respondents, and then itatago ninyo for later retrieval. And then afterwards, if you are going to interpret, kung oras na para interpret nyo, and then that's the time that you're going to group those together, organize, and then categorize, and then summarize, so that it will be easier for you to analyze the data, interpret the data, or search for references that would support your data. So we have 2 types of data. First is the raw data, which refers to data that have not been changed since acquisition, never been altered or treated. Ito yung data mismo na kaaabot lang sa inyo mula sa inyong mga respondents. So, inabot nila sa inyong questionnaire, or ito yung mismong transcript of the interview that you conducted with your respondent. For example, yung kare-record lang na voice recording ng inyong interview. And then we have process data. So process data refers to the data that have been edited, modified, interpreted, analyzed, reviewed, or corrected for errors. So itong process data na to, na meron na siyang modification. So it has already been edited, like na-organize nyo na siya, nailagay nyo na siya sa table, na-i-present nyo na siya, ready for interpretation, ready for actual analysis, na-correct nyo na kung ano yung mga errors na nakita nyo doon sa data. Like for example, may interview transcript kayo, ita-translate ninyo yan from, for example, Filipino or Iloco ang ginamit na lingua franca. Syempre, English ang gagamitin ninyong language dun sa inyong technical report. So, you're going to translate that into English. So that is one way of modification. Kung meron ding errors or lapses dun sa kanilang grammar or dun sa kanilang pag-present ng idea, then that's the time that you're going to correct it for error. Or for example, merong problema doon sa questionnaire ng isa yung respondent. Nakita nyo, dalawa yung kanilang sinagot. So, hindi nyo alam kung paano i-treat nyo. That is where you're going to review that and correct the error. So, pwede nyo balikan si respondent, kontakin nyo siya, and then tanungin kung ano ba dapat talaga ang sagot niya dito. Is it ito or yan. So, you correct the data for its errors. Now, let's proceed with information. Now, data alone, without interpretation, without analysis, it's meaningless. And once your data is interpreted, it will become information. So information refers to different individual data grouped together to form a single fact or idea. So itong mga individual data na meron kayo, you're going to combine those. You're going to collate the data, and then later on, meron na kayong firm basis sa kung ano man yung i-interpret ninyo, and whatever the result of that interpretation will produce a single fact or an idea, or sabihin natin in short, information. So by the end of your data analysis, by the end of your data collection and then your data analysis, you'll be able to come up with an information based on the data that you have collected. Now, in transforming this individual data, these individual facts, are going to undergo data analysis. Now, data analysis is the process of reducing a processed data and turning it into an edible information. So, your processed data is meaningless. Katulad ng sinabi ko kanina, it's meaningless. However, it can become meaningful if you employ data analysis and convert that processed data into an information. Para ka lang nagluluto ng paborito mong pagkain. Sabihin natin, nagluluto ka ng adobong manok. And what are your ingredients? You have your chicken, you have your soy, you have your vinegar, peppercorn, and kung ano man yung gusto mong ilagay. And then, iluluto mo yan. After mong iluto yung mga ingredients, after mong iluto yung manok, and together with ingredients, you produce an adobo. So, ayan. Meron ka ng adobo, meron ka ng pwedeng kainin. Parang ganun din sa data analysis natin. Kung saan, yung process data mo ay yung mga ingredients. So, yung mga process data na yan, nanggalingan sa mga raw materials. Like for example, yung chopped chicken, it came from a living chicken. Ayun, kinatay, and ayun, meron ka ng processed chicken. Ganun din sa soy sauce. It started with soya beans, I think. Kung soya beans ang gagamitin niyo, and then process it para maging soy sauce. Then vinegar, it could be sugar cane or any materials na pre-process mo para maging suka. Then this processed ingredients or this processed data will undergo cooking, which is yun, data analysis. Iluluto mo na yung ingredients mo dyan. And after na maluto, meron ka ng information. So that is data analysis. It is crucial. Data analysis summarizes collected data. Itong mga process na data na nakuha mo, sabi ko nga, you're going to collate those so that it will become an information. Now, data analysis involves the interpretation of data gathered through the use of analytical and logical reasoning to determine patterns, relationships, or trends. So, you're going to closely inspect the data that you have collected. You're going to determine whether there are underlying patterns, there is a relationship between this data. You're going to compare sets of data. You're going to determine trends that occur within this set of data. So, yun yung inclusion ng yung data analysis. Ngayon, punta tayo. Bakit nga ba mahalaga ang data analysis? What's the importance of data analysis? Now, data analysis involves telling a story to your readers about the findings of your data collection. You are doing data analysis because you want to make your readers understand whatever data you have collected to answer the problems that you have stated in your statement of the problem. Mahalaga siya kasi ang raw data, ang process data, meaningless yan sa mata ng mga readers. Hindi nila maiintindihan kung ano yung meron dyan sa data na nakolekta mo. Not unless you start interpreting your data. Kailangan mong sabihin sa kanila ano yung meron dito sa data na nakolekta mo. Ano yung meron, kung meron man trends, meron bang comparison, meron bang difference between the group of data na nakuha mo. So what are those? Titignan mo yun. There is a relationship. Okay, so inayos ko lang tong kasi may sounds. Yeah. So yan, importante ang data analysis because this will help the readers understand the data that you have collected. You're like a storyteller. Ikukwento mo kung ano yung na-discover mo mula doon sa paghuhukay mo ng data. And this data na nahukay mo, you interpreted that in such a way na maiintindihan ng iyong mga readers. This will be their basis for acquiring new knowledge from the topic you chose to discuss. Ang end goal ninyo, pag natapos kayong magkolekta ng data is that meron kayong panibagong knowledge na maibibigay para sa inyong mga respondents. Kaya kayo nangongolekta ng data. So, tingnan natin. Naman ako nanonood naman na. Sana may story na huwag kayong mag-alala dun sa mga hindi nakakanood ngayon ng live, pwede nyo pang mapanood to after ng live stream. Ayan. May mabuffer. Sa mga viewers ko ngayon, pasensya nyo na, mabagal ang internet ko ngayon. But anyway, I'll be uploading this later on. Naka-record naman to. Okay. So again, the importance of data analysis, one of the importance is it will bring new knowledge to your respondents, to your researchers, to your readers. So these are the phases of the data analysis process. First, you start with the organization of your data, and this involves collecting and storing the data. So organization of data means nandito kayo sa phase na kung saan pumupunta na kayo sa mga respondents ninyo at kinukuha nyo na yung mga vital information, vital ideas, vital facts na kailangan ninyo to establish the data analysis process. Ito yung mga data na kukolektahin ninyo, and then after nyo kolektahin, you're going to store that for easy retrieval. And then once na nakolekta nyo na lahat ng mga data ninyo, you're going for the next phase, which is the categorization of the data. And this includes summary and presentation of the data that you have collected so that mas organized siya. Lalagay ninyo sa category dapat itong mga data nito. For example, first category is for the profile of the respondents, and then mag-employ ka ng mga tools so that malaman mo yung mga frequencies ng mga itong mga categories na nakuha ninyo, and then you're going to present sa isang table yung for example, level of awareness, you're going to present that in a table, titignan mo yung weighted mean niya, and then afterwards, pag na-present mo na yung data mo, you're going to interpret your data. So this phase includes drawing inferences and conclusions about the data that you have collected. So nandito niya, titignan nyo na, magkakaroon na kayo ng close inspection. For example, for the profile of the respondents, dun sa for example, doon sa ng age group. So nalaman mo na based on the data that you have collected, mas maraming respondents na nasa age group na ganito kaysa sa mga age group na ganyan. So that's part of interpretation. Okay. So before we continue, let me check first. I think we're experiencing technical problems. Good afternoon. So human check muna tayo ngayon. Kumusta ang connection? Hindi ko alam kung okay yung connection ngayon kasi mabagal lang yung aming internet. Anyway, i-upload ko naman to. So, tuloy natin. Okay. So, let's talk about the types of research data. Yan ang mga research data naman. So, we have qualitative data, we have quantitative data. Ito yung dalawang types ng ating research data. And the third one is categorical data, which is papahapyawan natin yan. But we have to focus on the qualitative data and give emphasis doon sa ating quantitative data. Now, for the qualitative data, if you're presenting a textual, descriptive, or any non-numerical data, then it is a descriptive data. Anything na presented in a textual manner, anything na presented in a non-numerical manner ay descriptive data. So, na-try nyo na siguro to nung inyong PR1, di ba? You conducted interview and ano ang naging output ninyo? It's a transcript of interview. And ano ang itsura nitong transcript na to? It's more on textual data. And itong textual data na to is under a qualitative data. Ano nga ba yung mga non-numerical data na meron tayo, di ba? Other than textual data, we have documents, we have pictures, we have audio, we have objects, we have symbols. However, this data is very open to subjectivity since it came from an unrestricted form of data collection. In other words, in a free-form data collection. So, kumbaga, dito sa data collection na unrestricted, libre ang inyong mga respondents na magsabi ng kanilang saloobin, magsabi ng kanilang opinions, and ayun. So, it's very open to bias kasi nga it came from their own perceptions. It came from their own personal opinions. And ganun din sa pag-investigate ng mga picture, ng mga video, it is based on how the researcher perceived or how the respondents perceived that type of data. So we have examples of qualitative data. So makikita ninyo dito sa mga pictures na to, di ba? Parang familiar siya. Ano nga ba na-observe niyo dito sa pictures na to? Ano ang meron dito sa mga clip arts na nandito? So let's give time for you to reflect. Human check na tayo kung nakaka-receive pa ba kayo ng signal. I think mabagal ang signal. I think sabi nyo mabagal ang pasok ng signal sa inyo. Well, don't you worry, mahina rin ang internet connection namin ngayon. And mahina talaga ang internet connections ngayon kasi maraming gumagamit kasi nga nasa loob lang sila ng bahay, hindi sila lumalabas ng bahay. Thursday kayo. Yan. Okay, so anong na-observe ninyo dyan sa picture, yung mga na-observe nyo dyan sa clip arts? Just write your comment dito sa video if nakikita ninyo. I'll give you time to think. So, yan. So, mula dito sa mga clip arts na to, makikita natin na these are examples of, or these are representations of non-numerical data. So we have ano ba example ng mga qualitative data? We have interview transcript, we have documents, we have photographs, we have audio, we have video, and other that does not that is not represented using numerical forms. So itong mga qualitative data na to, they are not dependent on figures, they're not dependent on numbers. They are more on non-numerical representations. Other types of data, qualitative data is symbols, mga objects like artifacts, yung mga simpleng bagay lang na pwedeng mapulot like bato, trees. You can observe those data. Those are non-numerical data. Anything na hindi number is non-numerical data. Now, qualitative data is different from a quantitative data since it analyzes text, objects, multimedia, descriptions, symbols, and other non-number-based data. It is focused on finding patterns within a collected data. Ang qualitative data is more on looking for themes. They do not look for relationship, they do not look for cause, but qualitative data aims to understand something using non-numerical data. It's focused on finding patterns. Anong patterns ito? Yung sinabi ko is themes. Ano yung magkakapareho sa bawat individual data? Ano ang magkakapareho sa kanilang idea, sa kanilang context, sa kanilang design, or sa kanilang appearance, or even sa kanilang word use, sa kanilang tunog, and other characteristics na pwede nating tingnan sa mga non-numerical objects. And oftentimes, researchers rely on word-based methods since it's easier to find common patterns within the data. Itong word-based patterns, ano yung madalas na sabihin ng mga respondents? For example, sa interview, gusto mong malaman ano ba yung sa tingin ng mga respondents mo, ano yung dahilan ng kahirapan. So, titignan mo yung mga words na sasabihin nila. Like for example, lumabas yung kawalan ng trabaho, or kawalan ng edukasyon, yung mga words na yan, pwede nating masabi na these are patterns na nag-occur doon sa individual data na nakolekta mo. This can be found by looking at the repetitive words or even ideas. Pwede nating tingnan yung kanilang idea na nandoon nakapaloob sa kanilang mga dataset. These are called themes. So, itong mga themes na to, ito yung mga magpagkakapareho, ito yung mga parallel ideas na lumabas in between individual and independent dataset. Ano yung common sa kanilang mga samples? Ano yung common dun sa data na nakuha mo, na nakolekta mo? Now, remember, these data are individual and these are independent. So, iba ang perception ng isang sample from another sample sa isang respondent at sa isa pang sample. Magkakaiba yan. However, pwede nating makita ang similarity and differences ng dalawang dataset na to. Now, researchers may use keywords in analyzing common patterns within the data. Similar to word-based method, keywords also checks the words that are used by the respondents. However, these keywords are not necessarily the literal words na ginamit ng mga respondent. Like, it can be something, it can be a word that may refer to the context of what you are looking for. Like, for example, ang study mo is, again, patungkol sa poverty. Now, ano ba yung mga keywords na pwedeng konektado kay poverty? So, for example, poverty can be connected with hunger, it can be connected with being poor, it can be connected with someone who doesn't have any decent living. Anything na pwedeng konektado kay poverty can be used as a keyword. Moreover, comparing the similarities and differences within a data group is also a good example of analyzing qualitative data. So, ano yung pagkakapareho sa bawat data na nakolekta mo? Ano yung magkakaiba dun sa data na nakolekta mo? So, pwede mo siyang gamiting basis sa pag-a-analyze ng isang qualitative data. So we have qualitative data methods. So ito yung mga paraan nyo, ano yung pwede ninyong paraan na gamitin para i-analyze ang inyong qualitative data. So we start with content analysis. It is used for documentations, objects, symbols, and multimedia. Ang application ng content analysis is that you use this to inspect pre-established data. Ito yung mga data na hindi mo kailangang gawan ng data collection, hindi mo kailangang gawan ng questionnaires or ng interview transcript. Nandyan na yan in the beginning. Ang kailangan mo na lang gawin is ask for permission para ma-access tong documentations na to or tong object, tong symbol or multimedia na to. And then, saka mo i-inspect kung ano yung meron dyan sa document na yan. Then we have narrative analysis. So the narrative analysis is focused on people's perception and opinions. Ang narrative analysis naman ay base sa kung ano yung naisalaysay ng inyong mga respondents. So most likely dito lalabas yung tawag nating perceptions or yung kanilang pananaw. Ano ang tingin nila sa bagay na to? Anong tingin nila sa problem na to? Or dito rin lalabas yung kanilang mga opinions. What do they think about this? How would they respond to that? And other common questions na pwede nyo itanong sa mga interview. And then we have discourse analysis. This is the analysis of interactions and conversations in between your samples. Similar to narrative analysis na focused sa perceptions and opinions, the discourse analysis also aims to determine underlying themes in between conversations and interactions in between people. So, ito namang discourse analysis, ang ina-analyze niya is yung mga ideas na lumalabas sa mga respondents when they are conversing with another. So, this can be a one-to-one conversation or one-to-many conversation. Maganda rin to because there is an interaction between two samples which would give you more insights and ideas with regards to the topic na pinag-uusapan ninyo. Itong discourse analysis, usually pwede siyang gamitin kapag mayroong focus group discussion. Like, naalala niyo yung diniscuss ko last time na focus group discussion. It's a simultaneous interview. And doon sa interview na yon, pwedeng suportahan nung isa or kontrahin nung isa yung notion na binigay nung isang sample. So, magkakaroon yan ng conversation. And that conversation can be analyzed through discourse analysis. And then we have grounded theory. This provides an explanation to a certain phenomenon. This is the theoretical type of the qualitative data methods. So, grounded theory will allow the researcher to formulate a theory that will explain why a certain phenomenon is happening. So bakit ano yung mga explanation base dito sa observation ko na to, ano yung mga possible na explanation? Bakit nangyayari kaya itong phenomenon na to? Bakit nangyayari itong event na to? So for example, you want to analyze, bakit nga ba nagpa-panic buying ang mga tao ngayong merong outbreak ng isang pandemic? So you can conduct data collection by interviewing people. So bakit po kayo nagpa-panic buying? Bakit po kayo nagpa-panic buying? Ano ang meron sa pagpa-panic buying ninyo? And you're going to analyze certain themes na lalabas doon sa mga sinabi nila. And then this could provide you a theory na, for example, ang karamihan ng mga respondents mo sinabi na it is out of anxiety na baka mauubusan sila ng pagkain. So ayun, makakapag-formulate ka ng theory may panic buying because they are anxious. So yan, meron ka ng theory that will explain a certain phenomenon. So those are qualitative data methods. So if you have any questions, you can just post either dito sa ating group chat or just comment sa ating live chat. So human check na tayo, kumusta ang inyong kumusta nyo? Nag-freeze, mabagal ang internet ngayon, Kirby, kaya nag-freeze ang ating screen. Pero don't worry, maglo-load din yan. Bagal kasi ang net natin ngayon kasi sabay-sabay na gumagamit ng mga tao ngayon dahil nga nasa loob lang sila ng bahay, wala silang magawa, di naman sila makapag-lakwatsa. So, ba mag-delay pa. Ayan. So, shout out tayo kay Kirby na palaging nag-freeze ang pati kay Diana, shout out din, nag-freeze din ng screen, sabi naman ni Barry. Hindi, sabi ni Charles, defrost mo daw. Sister Dilogo, shout out sa'yo. Ito tayo sa ibang section. Shout out dito naman kay Larry na kagigising lang at mabagal din ang signal sa kanilang bahay. Yan. Kahit kay Kagunot, wala na. Mahina na. Ayan. Shout out din sa aking mga students from PBM Room 206 na wala yatang load. Katulad nga ng sinabi ko, huwag kayong mag-alala, pwede ninyong balikan. Ayan. Kumusta ang aking PBM 206? Are still hanging? Pagpasensya nyo na mabagal talaga ang internet ngayon, hindi lang sa inyo, pati sa akin din, bagal ngayon ng internet. Actually, dalawang internet connection ang kinokonikan ko. Pahinto-hinto, mabagal ang net natin, iha. Well, anyway, pwede nyo namang balikan yung discussion natin pag stable na ulit ang ating connection. Siguro magpapalit ako ng oras kung saan mas mabilis ang internet. Baka gawin kong umaga ang ating live streaming. So, lahat ng connection, PLDT man or smart or low, mahina ngayon ang connection. So anyway, kung kaya pa na internet niyo, just follow the lead. So proceed na tayo sa susunod na part, which is quantitative data. So quantitative data are any data that are expressed in numbers and figures. these are all called quantitative data. Lahat ng mga data na kumukuha ng forma as a number or as a figure, as a rational or irrational number, as a fraction, these are all quantitative data. So, alam naman natin ng mga numbers, di ba? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We count to 10. Yan. And those numbers are quantitative in nature. And this type of data can be distinguished into categories. They can be grouped. They are most likely measured. So, ito yung pinaka-characteristic ng isang quantitative data. It has the ability to be measured. Also, it can be calculated or it can be ranked. Okay? The numbers will determine kung nasaang rank mahuhulog ang isang dataset. So, for example, ang inyong quantitative data, if your data is measurable like weight, height, volume, speed, circumference, most likely, yung mga data na yan ay quantitative. Kasi nasusukat mo sila, di ba? For example, ito, we have this ruler here. Mapapansin niyo bakit may numbers ang ruler. Bakit numbers sila? Because these are mediums of measurement. And the measures are expressed in numbers. Kung makita ninyo, saan kayo nakakita ng ruler na nakalagay A, B, C, D. No, they are not numbers. They are not quantitative in nature. So, you have to use numbers for you to be able to measure. And yun nga, if you are able to measure using numbers, then most likely that is quantitative data. And then another example, if your data is countable, like the number of times you went to somewhere, the number of awards that you have, the number of trainings that you have, the number of live birth, number of mortality, ilan ang namatay, or ilan ang pera ngayon na nasa bulsa mo. Those are all expressed in a form of numbers. Those are quantitative kasi pwede mo silang mabilang. Saan ka nakahanap ng tao nagbibilang, pagbibilang niya A, B, C, D. No, wala kang nakitang ganong tao. Everyone is using numbers 1, 2, 3, 10, 20, 30, 100, 200, 69, 690, 6,969. No, diba? Lahat yan gumagamit ng numbers and those are quantitative. So if your data is numerical in nature, like your age, your ranking, mga rank 1 dyan ha. Shout out sa ating mga rank 1 ngayong third quarter. The cost, magkano yung binayaran mo, magkano yung sinukli sa'yo, magkano yung discount na binigay sa'yo, magkano ang utang mo, your scores, yung ilan ang score mo sa exam, ilan ang nakuha mo nung nag-quiz, ilan yung nakuha mo nung nagkaroon ng assignment, and anything that involves numbers are all quantitative data because you know they are countable, they can be ranked, they can be grouped together, they can be measured. Now, quantitative data involves the levels of measurement. Naaalala nyo pa ba itong levels of measurement na to? Well, isa to sa mga masakit sa ulo. Levels of measurement. Pero let's try to simplify this. Na-explain ko na sa inyo to last quarter and i-review lang natin kung ano to mga to. So, we have nominal, ordinal, and interval ratio. And these are defined as the 4 fundamental levels of measurement scales that are used to capture data in the form of surveys and questionnaire, each being a multiple choice question. So, these measurements are all quantitative data. They involve the use of numbers. Now let's start with nominal level. The nominal level is the lowest form of measurement. So also called categorical variables, these are descriptions or labels without logical order and may be recorded as text or assigned with a numerical code. Now, nominal level of measurement is a quantitative data that does not use or that does not appear as a quantitative data kasi itong nominal level, these are name variables. This is named measurement. This is categorical measurement. And ang itong nominal level na to is it is recorded as a text. Ibig sabihin, nag-a-appear siya as non-numerical. However, you can assign numerical code to it so that if you're going to make calculations, then pasok siya dun sa pagiging quantitative data. Yun ang kay nominal level. So, the nominal level is category. Kaya mo bang i-categorize yung iyong data? Or can the data be categorized? So, if the data can be categorized, then most likely, it is in the nominal level. So, for example, ito, meron tayong mga categories dito, di ba? For example, sex. We have either male or female. Then we have grade 11 or grade 12 for the grade level. That's the nominal level. For strand, di ba? We have STEM, PBM, GAS, TVL Maritime, TVL HE, ICT. Those are the different categories na meron tayo. And kung mapapansin niyo, meron siyang numbering because yan yung naka-assign na number sa kanila. And like I said, this is the lowest level of measurement because ang tinitingnan mo lang is yung frequency kung ilan sa kanila ang nagsabi ng ganito, ganito, ganyan. And kung makita nyo, nakakategorize na sila into different categories. Now, punta tayo sa ordinal level of measurement. So, these measurements are arranged in order. Ordinal level of measurement focuses on the order of the data. Nakakuan siya, merong order. Meron na siyang category. But at the same time, the ranking or the order of the data is given an importance here. However, the intervals in between the variables are not equal. So, for example, alam natin na 100 is higher than 99 and 100 is higher than 97. Pero yung interval between 199 and 197 ay hindi pareho, di ba? For example, yung 100, ilan ang interval nila with 99? You only have one interval there. How about 197? So, meron tayong ranking doon. Mas mataas pa rin si 100 kaysa kay 97. Pero yung interval ay iba na. Hindi na pareho doon sa nauna. So, 100, 99, 97, 95. O, magkaiba na yung kanilang mga interval. Kung si 199, 1 ang interval niya. Kay 100 at kay 97 naman, 3 ang interval niya. Yung interval ni 97 at saka ni 95, magkaiba rin. O, 2 din ang kanyang interval. So, wala kang makikitang equal interval dito sa ganitong klaseng data. So, if there is no equal interval, and therefore, that is in the ordinal level. Kasi yung rank lang ang tinitingnan mo, binibigyan mo ng pansin. So, this is applied in the following. So, your status at your workplace, tournament team rankings, order of product quality, and order of agreement or satisfaction. Usually, yung mga questionnaire ninyo ngayon na that deals with the level of awareness, level of satisfaction, those are all in the ordinal level. For example, yung alam natin na mas mataas ang order ni very satisfied kaysa kay satisfied. And then, alam natin na logical order niyan is very satisfied. And then, susunod, satisfied, pababa ng pababa. Moderately satisfied, and then slightly satisfied, and then dissatisfied. So, ang problema dito ay magkaiba ang kanilang interval. Hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na yung interval ng very satisfied at saka satisfied ay pareho din dun sa interval ni very satisfied and moderately satisfied. No, magkaiba na ang kanilang order. Di ba, makita ninyo isa lang ang pagitan ni very satisfied tapos ni satisfied. Yan, magkasunod yan. So, let's take that as one interval. Pero pagdating kay very satisfied at saka kay moderately satisfied, magkaiba na yung kanilang order. Iba na yung interval niya. So, dalawa na yung interval niya. So, hindi na sila equal with the other categories. Ngayon, kung gusto mong bigyan ng equal interval yung inyong mga data, you have to go with the interval level. So the interval scale is defined as a numerical scale where the order of variables is known as well as the difference between these variables. So for example, yung interval na 10, 20, and then 20 and 30, di ba? Meron na siyang order. 20, 30, 30, 40, 40, 50. Alam natin na ang kanilang interval is 10, di ba? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130. Meron nang nakaset na interval in between these values. However, there is no pre-deciding point of true zero value. So, ibig sabihin, wala tayong starting point. At yung zero na nandyan sa iyong data doesn't necessarily mean na absence of something. Zero does not refer to absence when it comes to interval level. So, for example, di ba, 30 and 40 is seen with the interval na 10, 30 and 40. Ngayon, kay 80 and 90, they have the same interval. Well, that is also 10. Tignan nyo to. Yung 0 dito sa interval level natin, it does not signify a starting point. And unlike the ratio measurement, ang 0 ay hindi nagsasabing wala or hindi niya sinasabing absent itong bagay na to. So, in an interval level, the intervals have the same interpretation. So, katulad sinabi ko kanina, yung 10 and 20 and yung 80 and 90, they have the same interpretation of the interval, which is they have an interval of 10. So, ibig sabihin, ang pagitan ng dalawang value na to ay 10. And 0 does not represent any absences. Ang pinaka-classic na example ng isang interval level ay yung temperature. Temperature does not have any zero value since both positive and negative values exist. Hindi naman natin pwedeng sabihin na yung zero indicates that there is no temperature. No, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin yan. Zero has a meaning, and that, historically speaking, ang zero denotes that this is the freezing point of a water. Also, we can infer that 0 is greater than negative 1. Ayun, papasok na naman tayo dun sa ranking, dun sa order. So, 0 is greater than negative 1 but less than 1 degree. So, other examples of interval level include the intelligence quotient. Okay, imposibleng magkaroon ng 0 na intelligence quotient. Ayun ang aalalahanin ninyo. It's impossible because everyone is born with an IQ. Lahat tayo meron tayong capabilities of learning. We all have capabilities of thinking, even at its lowest form. Even retarded people, or those who are, sabihin natin, nabaliw na, they still have the capability to think rationally. However, in a very low intelligence quotient. Then we have the geniuses. They have very high amounts of IQ, and it can still go beyond the highest recorded IQ. Pero there is no zero So the zero is non-existent in an intelligence quotient if there is no true zero value, and that is interval level. Moreover, it is possible for a test score not to reach a 0 point. Wait lang. So, yun, it's not possible. It is, or it's possible that, it's possible na hindi ka makakarating ng isang 0 point value. Pag nag-exam ka, meron ka makukuha at least 1. Unless hindi mo sinagutan, then that's the time you get 0. But in nature, test scores should not reach 0. Hindi naman natin pwedeng sabihin na hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na 0 is the absence of a score. Meron pa ring score yan. None nga lang. And then we have ratio level. So this time the ratio has all the properties that a categorical or a nominal level, ordinal level, and interval level has. Ang key feature lang na meron kay ratio na wala sa lahat is that it has the value of a true zero, wherein zero position is equivalent to absence of something. So this is the only time na masasabi natin yung zero ay nangangahulugang wala talaga. Unlike the other kanina, kapag sinabi nating zero is walang meaning kay interval. Pero dito kay ratio level, may meaning na. There is already a true meaning for zero, and that zero equals absence of something. For example, the money in your pocket. Pwede nating sabihin zero ang iyong money sa pocket, and that will be interpreted as wala kang pera. So, zero money refers to no money. Parang kayo ngayon kasi wala kayong allowance ngayon pumapasok, wala naman kayong pasok ngayon kaya wala rin kayong allowance. So, zero money ang meron kayo dyan sa inyong mga pitaka. So, ratio level, for example, if you have zero money, it means that you have no money. The cases of COVID in La Union, which is, I am happy to say na as of now, wala pa namang case. So, zero means there's none. So you can also say that someone who has 100 pesos has twice as much with those who has 50 pesos. Kaya nga ratio ito, ang pag sinabi kasi nating ratio, ilan yung number na meron sa isang number. So hindi ko ma-explain na mabuti ito because I am not a math major, pero this is how I understand this. So for ratio level, we can also say that if a data has this value, then it has twice or thrice or 4 times the value of this data. So ratio level does not have any negative values. It always starts with 0. So laging 0 ang simula niyan. Meron siyang starting point, unlike the interval level. So other examples, what is your height in feet and inches? You have less than 5 feet. You have 5 feet 1 to 5 feet 5 inches, 5 feet 6 inches to 6 feet, then more than 6 feet. Now let us scrutinize this. Pwede nating sabihin na you are less than 5 feet, or sabihin natin yung mini-measure mo na bagay is wala naman talagang height, like it's microscopic in nature or ganito ganyan. Pwede natin sabihin 0 feet yan kasi hindi siya nakaabot sa 1 feet na measurement natin. So pwedeng 15 inches lang yan, pero hindi siya papasok dun sa 1 feet. So pwede nating sabihin na the object doesn't have any size that reaches at least 1 feet. And then, tingnan ninyo, meron din siyang order. Meron din siyang order. Nakakategorize siya. By the way, nakakategorize siya as height in feet and inches. And then, meron siyang order from lowest to, from smallest to tallest. So, yun yung order niya. And then, meron ba tayong interval dito? Yes, meron tayong interval. So, we have, the interval here is 5. So, 5 feet 1 inches, 5 feet 2 inches, 5 feet 3 inches, 5 feet 4 inches, and then 5 feet 5 inches. And then, the next interval, 5 feet 6 inches, 5 foot 7, 5 foot 8, 5 foot 9. Meron mali dito sa data na to kasi dapat, to? By 6 dapat to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, may mali dito sa data na to. But anyway, this is just for representation. And then more than 6 feet. Alalanin natin that the height, our height is for 12 inches, that's equivalent to 1 feet. So, dapat ito 5 feet 1 hanggang 5 feet 6. So, that's 6 interval. And then start siya 5 foot 7, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 6 feet or 5 feet 12. That's equivalent to 6 feet already. And then more than 6 feet. Okay. So, do you have any questions or clarifications? So, check natin yung mga chat ninyo. Kung meron kayong mga katanungan or may mga gustong magpa-shoutout. Ayan, zero money equals curvy. Sorry. Lucky number natin, 69. Shoutout kay Mr. Valdez na mahilig sa number na 69 because sabi nga ni Davey 504, 69 is a magical number. Kanya sa amin dito. Kawawa naman Mr. Nabor, uubusan na ng store na nakabukas. Pero uso naman na ngayon ang online na pagpapaload. Chat mo lang yung magpapaload sa'yo and ayun, bayaran mo na lang pag pwede na lumabas. Huwag mo lang kakalimutan na yung utang mo, Mr. Nabor. Ayan, shoutout sa'yo. Yung mga dito barangay ni. So, Mr. PJ, opo, meron talaga mga barangay ngayon na nagsara and kinakailangan mo ng permit bago ka makalabas. And hindi lahat ng tao ay pwedeng lumabas kasi one person per household lang ang pwedeng lumabas. Check naman natin si Room 204. So far, wala namang nag-chat-chat. Ewan ko, may viewers pa ako from Room 204. Anyway. Yan, so pahinga lang tayo. Pagod na ako. Sakit na sa lalamunan. Ayan. Ayan, shoutout talaga kayo. Dito, pag nandito kayo sa channel. Ayan. Okay. So, proceed na tayo dito sa susunod. We are now in the methods in quantitative data analysis. So, huwag kayong mag-alala guys, patapos na din ako dito sa aking live stream kasi hindi rin kaya ng internet namin ngayon. Sobrang bagal din mga internet connections dito sa aming compound. Okay, we have two types or we have two methods in quantitative data analysis. We have descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. Na-discuss ko na din to sa inyo guys. So, I'm going to just give you a summary of this. So, descriptive statistics gives information that describes the data for the entire group. It presents the data in such a way that its pattern starts making sense. Ang descriptive statistics ay more on presentation of the data that you have collected. So, it's either you're going to present it through a table or through a chart, through a bar graph, or any types of data presentation tools na pwede ninyong gamitin. Ang descriptive statistics, ang purpose nito is to make the data more readable and easier for the readers to read. Like this is the first step in making your raw data into a processed data. So, meron tayong iba't ibang methods. But before we start talking about the different methods in descriptive statistics, now I want to share the importance of the descriptive statistics. Now, the descriptive statistics, like what I have said, it will help your readers read the data that you have collected. It is a way of converting your raw data into a processed data. And so, alam natin, yung raw data na yan, meaningless yan. And at the same time, it is very chaotic. Bakit? Hindi mo siya maiintindihan. Imagine mo, you have your all data. Yan, pak, andyan yung data. Tapos yan na yung sasalpak mo sa yung research paper. And bahala si reader, isa-isahin na lang niya yan. No. As a researcher, you have to summarize the data that you have collected. And descriptive statistics will help you summarize that. And these are the methods that you can use. So first is the measures of frequency. Ngayon, kung ang tanong mo ay what is the profile of the respondent, what is the score of the, what is the, what are the available materials, what are the available tools and equipment in the mock sheet, mga ganon, or what are the available tools in the library. Kung ang ginagawa mo, ang gagawin mo, or ang tanong mo requires you to count how many observations occurred, then you're going to use measures of frequency like counting or frequency count. Percentage count, pwede mong gamitin yan. Frequency counting. So it is used to denote how often a particular event occurs. How dapat yan. So it is used to denote how often a particular event occurs. Researchers use it when they want to showcase how many or how often a response is given. For example, dun sa sex, di ba meron tayong dalawang options dun. It's either male or female. So, if you're going to employ frequency count, then how many times did the respondents chose male, or how many times do the respondents chose female as their option for sex? Or how many of the students are in grade 11? How many of the students are in grade 12? Usually, ang descriptive itong frequency counting, itong measures of frequency, it asks how many. Ilang beses lumabas yung observation na yan. So that's for measures of frequency. Next is the measures of central tendency. So, napag-aralan nyo na to noong inyong statistics and probability class. The measures of central tendency. Saan gigitna or ano yung gitna nung data? Ano yung central value nung data na na-collecta mo? So, this method is widely used to demonstrate the distribution by various points. And for this time, it's the central point we're looking for. Researchers use this method when they want to showcase the most commonly or averagely indicated response. Anong response ang pinaka napupunta sa pinakagitna? Or what is the averagely indicated response? Ano yung maraming beses na lumabas? Anong response ang maraming beses lumabas? Or for example, anong score ang madalas na lumabas doon sa iyong distribution of data? Then we have weighted mean. This is a special type of measure of central tendency. So the weighted mean or the weighted arithmetic mean is similar to an ordinary weighted mean, except that instead of each of the data points contributing equally to the final average, some data points contribute more than others. Dito mo makikita kung anong specific indicator ang may pinakamabigat na contribution doon sa final average. Titignan mo kung saan nagpipik yung scores ng iyong data collection. Diba? For example, we have 15 indicator questionnaire. Sinong indicator ngayon ang may pinakamataas at may pinakamababang distribution ng points? For example, si indicator 8, 4.58 out of 5. O siya may pinakamarami na siya may pinakamaraming observations na nag-respond dito sa indicator na to. So weighted mean gagamitin nyo yan if you're talking about the level of awareness, the level of acceptability, tawag dito, level of adequacy, yung mga yan. Yung mga usually yung question number 2 ninyo will use weighted mean. So measures of dispersion or variation like range, variance, or standard deviation talks about how scattered your data is. Nandito siya nakalagay. Oh. So researchers use this method to showcase data spread out. It helps them identify the depth until which the data is spread out that it directly affects the mean. So, gaano kalawak ang dispersion ng mga scores? Kasi yung dispersion, yung pagkakahiwa-hiwalay o yung pagkakalapit-lapit ng mga scores ninyo, pwedeng maka-apekto yan doon sa final mean ng inyong data. So that's measures of dispersion or variation. Measures of position naman like the percentile ranks, quartile ranks, mostly saan lang nakapwesto yung iyong score. Yan ang pinaka main point nitong measures of position. Is it part of the low tier score? Is it part of a quartile 1, yung pinakamababa? Or is it part of quartile 4, yung pinakamataas? Nasaang percentile rank siya? Is it higher than 60% of the other scores? It is often used when researchers want to compare scores with the average count. For example, gaano kalayo yung score mo sa actual na average score? Is it less than the average score or is it greater than the average score? Kung quartile yan, i-divide natin sa 4 yung mga scores. Nasa ang quartile ka? Usually, ang mean is nandun sa quartile, in between quartile 2 and quartile 3. So, nasaan ka? Nasa higher quartile ka ba or nasa lower quartile ka? Sa percentile ranks, usually, nasa 50% yan. Percentile ranks, the mean is at the 50% rank. So, are you in the upper 50% or are you in the lower 50%? Okay, so you already have presented now you have the tool to present your data. You have the tool to summarize your data. Now it's time for you to interpret your data using inferential statistics. Now, inferential statistics compares groups, tests hypotheses, and makes prediction about a population. It gathers a sample that is randomly selected. So this time, eto na yung manghihila ng conclusion, manghihila ng inferences based on the data that you have presented. Ito na yung sasagot or ito na yung magko-confirm doon sa yung hypothesis testing. So the inferential statistics will determine whether you're going to accept or reject your hypothesis. So let's define some terms here. So parametric statistical test makes assumption about the characteristics of a population. Pag sinabi nating parametric ang gagamitin mong test, ibig sabihin you're creating an assumption. You're making a hypothesis about the characteristic or the parameter of your population. Meanwhile, kabaliktaran niya si non-parametric test. It does not make any assumptions about the population. Moreover, it does not rely on normal distribution. Now, parametric distribution is normal distribution, while the non-parametric has an abnormal distribution of data. So, ito yung mga pwede nyong gamitin na inferential statistics tools. For example, if you're testing for significant relationship, therefore you're testing for correlation, you're going to use, okay, mag-alala, by the way, researchers, you're using parametric distribution naman so far. So, normal distribution naman ang ginagamit niyo. So, if you're testing for correlation, most likely you're going to use person R. However, if it is non-parametric, you're going to use Spearman rank correlation. Non-parametric ang Spearman rank. Okay? So, sa data analysis ninyo, kung alam naman ninyong normal distribution yan, then use person R. And kung alam nyo namang abnormal ang inyong distribution, then use Spearman. Now, for comparing groups naman, you're going to use t-test, both paired and unpaired. T-test, those are both parametric test. Ang counterpart niyan is ito, si Wilcoxon rank sum test. Yan ang counterpart ni t-test na paired. So, yan yung non-parametric counterpart niya. Meanwhile, yung Mann-Whitney U-test ay ang non-parametric na counterpart ng unpaired t-test. And then we have analysis of variance. So, by the way, t-test, you can use that if you have two groups of respondents. So, if you have two groups of data. Meanwhile, analysis of variance, if you have three or more, you may use, or it's better to use analysis of variance. And this is a parametric test. Ang non-parametric counterpart niya is si Kruskal-Wallis test. So, ganun din, three or more distributions, however, it's non-parametric. And then lastly, dito tayo magtatapos. So, we have categorical data. So, the categorical data is a data presented in groups. However, an item included in the categorical data cannot belong to more than one group at a time. Example, yung sex, di ba? It's ang category na sex, ang nakalagay dyan is yung items na male and female. Ngayon, itong items na to, hindi naman siya pwedeng lumabas dun sa age group. Or hindi siya pwedeng lumabas dun sa grade level. O kaya dun sa grade point average. Because it does not belong in that group. For example, the demographic profile of the respondents along sex, religion, indigenous background, address, that belongs to categorical data. Your favorite mobile phone. So, that is another category. Ano yung paborito mong phone? Ito, yung mga items. Yan. So, for example, we have Lenovo, Samsung, Oppo, Realme, Xiaomi. Those are all items for the category favorite mobile phone. Pero hindi naman sila pwedeng pumunta sa personal computer or laptop brand. Kasi ibang category na naman yan. Living lifestyle, exercise, and anything that is under a category falls under a categorical data. Now, your task will be given through Edmodo Classroom. So, sa Edmodo, lahat ng inyong quiz. Don't worry, your quizzes are flexible. Your deadlines are set even after class suspension. So, pwede nyo siyang i-access even if tapos na yung suspension. Kasi madali lang namang i-check yan. Makikita ko naman yan. Ang grading nyo naman is sa Mayo pa. Sakaling ma-lift yung suspension ngayong April or better if ngayong March. So, just visit your Edmodo. So, that's it for today. And so, pasensya nyo na kasi talagang mabagal ngayon ng ating connection. But once na makakuha kayo ng magandang connection, please do watch itong ating discussion. So, tignan nga natin kung sino yung human check tayo ulit dito. So, ito yung mga makaka-receive ng shoutouts ngayon, yung mga artist nag-open ng ating pinapanood. So, shoutout tayo kay Barry Carpio, shoutout din tayo kay Jessica Guevara, kay Christine J. Kakanindin. Shoutout din tayo kay Errol Rafael Labenes. Shoutout kay Gerald Pasqua. Vernil Vergara, shoutout din sa'yo. Lester Rigue, Charles Cachero, Christian Angelo Pobre, Bobby Leria, Ismael Kadondon, good afternoon sa'yo. Diana Mangawang, na-late. Talagang may nalilate pa kapag online class. Ayan, Rex Ramos, shout out sa'yo. Yes, mahina talaga ang signal ng mahina ang signal natin ngayon. But anyway, so thank you for watching. And I hope mabalikan nyo to. Kung meron kayong mga katanungan, you can just ask me sa ating group chat or you can just post your question dun sa Edmodo. Oh, by the way, dito sa video na to, meron ako mga naka-attach na link for your references. Ayan din yung ginamit kong basihan for this discussion. So, I'll see you on my next live stream. Good afternoon. Test hypothesis and basically follow up. So we've got this example that is random example. So this time ito na yung was the number sa Manila based on the data that we have presented. Ito na yung sasagot or to be mag-on from the design of the hypothesis. So the differential statistics, so where subject your hypothesis. So let's find some terms here. So para na-instance natin